The mug slipped from my grasp, coffee splattering across the marble floor of the Breakers' luxurious lobby. The front desk clerk's voice rang in my ears as I gazed at the expanding brown stain. "Miss Walker, I apologize, but I cannot locate your reservation. I see bookings for your family members, but nothing under your name." Behind me, the sharp sound of designer heels drew near. My sister Catherine's voice resonated deliberately through the grand space, each word meticulously chosen to attract the attention of nearby guests. "Oh, Helen finally made it." Her tone was laced with sarcasm as she adjusted her Hermes Birkin bag. "How peculiar that there's no reservation for you." She stepped closer, her triumphant smile broadening as other guests began to notice. "Actually," she went on, "I only made reservations for our real family. A room for me, my husband and daughter, and one for Mom and Dad." Through the lobby's ornate mirrors, I could see our parents intentionally turning away, feigning ignorance to my embarrassment. The $3,200 theory dress I had meticulously chosen for our Thanksgiving dinner suddenly felt like a costume I had no right to don. "My name is Helen Walker. I'm 33 and a pharmaceutical research director. This is the tale of how I made my family finally recognize the repercussions of their actions. For years, I had been the family outcast, the one who built her life through scholarships, prudent investments, and 80-hour work weeks. My sister crafted an Instagram-perfect life, entirely funded by our grandfather's wealth. Monthly allowances of $30,000 had fashioned Catherine's designer wardrobe, her daughter Amy's private school tuition, and the illusion of success she desperately upheld online. I had seen the bank statements while assisting grandfather with his accounts during his brief hospitalization last year. This was a duty Catherine never took on, despite his clear requests. Today, standing in that lobby, something crystallized within me. The same grandfather who had taught me to be self-sufficient had unwittingly turned the others into monsters who never learned to stand on their own. I took a slow, deep breath and calmly stated, "I see. Then I'll leave." My voice was steadier than I anticipated. Adjusting my grip on my navy Rimowa suitcase, which I had purchased with my own money, not my grandfather's, I politely nodded to the empathetic front desk staff and opened the taxi hailing app on my phone. "Wait." Catherine's voice rose slightly, but I was already making my way to the entrance. She had anticipated tears, begging, or public disgrace. My quiet dignity was not part of her expectations. Only the sound of my footsteps resonated in the suddenly quiet lobby as every onlooker stared at my departing figure. Through the glass doors, I caught sight of my 7-year-old niece, Amy, dressed in an absurdly expensive outfit, fidgeting behind her mother. She was searching for me. Every Thanksgiving, it had been my tradition to bring Amy a gift. This year's pearl hair clip was still beautifully wrapped in my suitcase. It was a gift meant for the woman she might grow into, not the accessory her mother would impose on her. In the taxi, I took out my smartphone and dialed my grandfather's number without a moment's hesitation. Since our monthly financial review meeting started last year, we had developed a much closer bond than I had with my parents, who had always favored Catherine. "Helen, what's wrong?" His voice maintained its usual calm, but the question indicated he sensed something was off. Our scheduled calls never occurred on holidays, and he knew I would be with family at the Breakers. "I have something to report," I started, my tone factual and devoid of emotion. I detailed exactly what had transpired, the missing reservation for me alone, Catherine's triumphant assertion about the real family, and our parents' complicity through their silence. I refrained from adding any pleas for sympathy or justice. I simply presented the facts as I had learned to do in my pharmaceutical research. The data should be self-explanatory. Meanwhile, I could hear his breathing grow a bit more labored, the sole sign of his tightly restrained anger. "I get it. I'll take it from here," he stated, his tone deep and weighty. What transpired next unfolded with the accuracy of a clinical trial. In just 15 minutes, my phone lit up with notifications, 10 missed calls from Catherine, increasingly frantic voicemails, and a barrage of text messages. Grandfather had evidently acted on his frequently mentioned contingency plan, one he had discussed with me during our financial meetings, but had never had to implement until this moment. "Helen, Amy wants to see you." She was eager for our annual Thanksgiving gathering. My friends are coming over for dinner tonight. I intended to share our perfect family Thanksgiving on Instagram. Do you realize how humiliating this situation is? From my parents, emails began to pour in. We could have added another room, but as Catherine pointed out, we prioritized the real family. You're independent now, right? If you can afford it, why not get another room with your salary? It shouldn't be a major issue. Why are you being so sensitive? Catherine has a family, a husband, and a child. You understand, don't you? Can't you just quietly endure it for Thanksgiving? That's always been your issue, only thinking about yourself, never considering the family. Each message constricted my chest. Yet these were familiar wounds, the same biases I had encountered since childhood. Their words exposed not my shortcomings, but theirs. As my plane bound for Chicago climbed through the clouds, a new email arrived from grandfather, with all family members included as recipients. The following is my final decision to be communicated. The email commenced in grandfather's typically dignified manner. Today on Thanksgiving, an incident occurred that severely tarnished our family's dignity. The harsh treatment of Helen is an affront to the Walker family name and cannot be tolerated under any circumstances. Effective immediately. I am halting all financial assistance to George, Margaret, and Catherine. I must remind you that your extravagant lifestyles rely entirely on my support. Those who have lost touch with the essence of family, consumed by vanity and pretense, no longer deserve such privilege. Just as I was finishing my reading, my phone buzzed with Catherine's incoming calls. Her panic was clear from the number of calls. 5 in just 2 minutes. Helen, please pick up the phone. Convince Grandpa, her voicemail urged. Without grandfather's monthly $30,000, Catherine's meticulously crafted life would collapse. The mortgage on her showcase home, the least luxurious cars, Amy's exclusive private school, all built around money she hadn't earned. My parents expressed similar desperation. Helen, this concerns our retirement. Could you please speak to your grandfather? The $150,000 deposit for our luxury retirement home will be lost. Our medical insurance subsidies will cease. Their previous arrogance had disappeared, replaced by an unusual humility. I apologize for the harsh words I said earlier, but this is a family emergency. I quietly powered down my smartphone and stared out at the sea of clouds beyond the window. The picture-perfect family Thanksgiving photos that had graced social media every year would not be shared this year. For Catherine, that might be an even greater blow than the financial fallout. After landing in Chicago, I connected to my home Wi-Fi and discovered over 100 unread messages. Their tone had become increasingly frantic. What am I supposed to do? I can't manage the loans. What about Amy's school fees? We might not be able to recover the retirement home deposit. What are we supposed to do now? I can't sleep at night worrying about the medical insurance. But what stood out the most was grandfather's final notice. This action is irreversible. Consider it the result of your own choices. Any challenge to my decision will lead to the termination of all remaining support. I read through the incoming messages with a sense of calm. The once arrogant tone had completely shifted to desperate pleas. For the first time, the true nature of each family member was laid bare. I set my smartphone aside and began brewing tea in the kitchen. Normally, I would have been savoring the hotel's extravagant Thanksgiving dinner, a special meal priced at $200 per person. The thought brought a slight smile to my face. Each year, my sister's family would share posts about this opulent dinner on social media. However, the reality was that they were struggling to keep up with their monthly credit card payments. A new call came in, this time from Catherine's husband. His words, laced with panic and confusion, criticized his wife's spending habits. It appeared that their marriage was beginning to show signs of strain as reality set in. Through my apartment window, the Chicago skyline sparkled quietly at night. I recalled my own credit card statement. I made full payments every month. I enjoyed moderate luxury within my means. I had no debt. My grandfather's favorite saying echoed in my mind, vanity is for others. Savings are for yourself. In this city, I had built my life through my own hard work. As my grandfather said, I had become someone capable of standing on her own 2 feet. And now, I felt deeply that this choice had been the right one. My smartphone buzzed with incoming calls, but they were voices that would no longer reach me. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, Chicago experienced its first snowfall of December. While my daily routine in the pharmaceutical lab remained the same, my family's situation had dramatically changed. My sister's Instagram, which had been updated almost daily with carefully curated photos of luxury goods and exotic destinations, had gone silent. Her last post, featuring her Hermes bag at a fancy restaurant tagged with #DreamLifestyle, now felt painfully ironic beneath comments praising her wonderful life. Emails from my father finally expressed genuine remorse. "I'm reflecting on our years of extravagant living. We indulged Catherine excessively and were distant towards you. I apologize for that." Similar sentiments came from my mother. With their medical insurance subsidies eliminated, they were finally grasping the actual expenses of healthcare. Our pension alone is far from sufficient. I now realize how extravagantly we were living. Catherine's predicament was even more dire. I received an unexpected call from her husband. I've uncovered hidden debts she had kept under wraps. The credit card bills have left me stunned. We can no longer sustain this way of life. With grandfather's support abruptly withdrawn, their illusion of wealth was swiftly disintegrating. We're contemplating a move to a more affordable home and considering public schools for Amy as well. Catherine weeps every night. His voice was a blend of fatigue and resignation. Their marriage appeared to be in turmoil. Meanwhile, my life continued to be tranquil. I arrived at work at 8 a.m. and returned home at 6 p.m. My weekends were dedicated to investment study groups and managing my savings. Just yesterday, I received a promotion to team leader for a new research initiative. My salary is projected to rise to $200,000, and my investment activities are progressing smoothly, leaving me without concerns for the future. Vanity offers fleeting pleasure. Savings provide enduring peace of mind. The impact of grandfather's words is now profoundly felt by the entire family. While my parents fret over retirement stability, and my sister battles with debt repayment, I am simply carrying on with my routine life. Over the past weeks, the number of urgent emails and calls has significantly dropped from daily in the first week to once or twice a week. The tone of these communications is gradually shifting towards acceptance. Amy will be moving to public school. She'll be taking the school bus. I never thought this would happen. My sister's most recent email indicates she is beginning to accept the situation. The dream of a private school life she once showcased on social media will never be shared again. Our parents were contemplating a move from their upscale Florida community to a more affordable condominium, grappling with the burden of medical bills. Their vision of a lavish retirement had easily fallen apart. For years, we've been living with misguided values, my father's latest email stated. Yet, it was uncertain whether this newfound awareness would spark a revival of genuine family connections. Just last week, I received a brief email from my grandfather. Coming to terms with life's realities can sometimes be painful, but it's a necessary kind of pain. Your choice imparted a significant lesson to them. I chose not to respond. Instead, I quietly saved the email. 3 months after that Thanksgiving, the first signs of spring began to emerge in Chicago. My life remained unchanged, or rather, it had become even more rewarding. The new project at the pharmaceutical company was advancing well, and last week I was informed of my promotion. My accomplishments as research director were acknowledged, and my investment trust operations continued to flourish. From my office window, I could gaze at the expansive surface of Lake Michigan, its waves glistening in the spring sunlight, offering a sense of quiet optimism. A mountain of new research data accumulated on my desk. The time I spent immersed in work was my most treasured time. Recently, I received a birthday gift from my grandfather, a simple pearl necklace. The card that accompanied it featured a single line in his familiar, elegant script: "True brilliance resides in those who are self-sufficient." I had begun to limit my contact with my parents. They had transitioned from their luxurious Florida community to a more modest condominium and appeared to be slowly adjusting to their new reality. While luxury provides fleeting happiness, true security lies in a grounded way of living. For the first time, my mother's email expressed genuine understanding. My sister's family had relocated to a typical suburban area. Amy had started attending public school and was getting accustomed to taking the school bus. Catherine's social media presence remained dormant. How empty it all seems now, posting just to keep up appearances. Such words appeared in a rare email from my sister. Days spent struggling with credit card payments. Their marriage was still strained, but at least they were no longer turning away from reality. In my desk drawer, the pearl hair clip I had prepared as Amy's present remained beautifully wrapped. Someday, when she realizes true value, when she understands the importance of standing on her own feet rather than counting social media likes, perhaps that will be the right time to give her this clip. Last week, I received a text from Amy sent from her mother's phone. It was simple. "Aunt Helen, when can I see you again?" I stared at the message for a long time. Perhaps the necessary pain had begun to heal something more important than appearances. I texted back soon. Outside my window, early spring winds rustled through the street trees, announcing the beginning of a new season, not just for the city, but perhaps for our family as well.